Well, the Easter holidays are over, school is back, and life has resumed its regular routine. Today on the Happy Families podcast, we review our 3 big holiday take-home messages, things that we learned across the last couple of weeks of holidays that have changed our outlook and can also change yours. It's I'll Do Better Tomorrow. Welcome to the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. Kylie, we've had, 3 weeks. 3 weeks of downtime, 3 weeks of holidays. You're feeling refreshed?
Except for the jet lag part, I actually am. Everybody who's seen me since we've been home has acknowledged that I'm looking really good. My body's just got to catch up.
Yeah, it's so funny. Only a couple of hours difference. We didn't go very far, but it really sort of knocked us around. Okay, 3 take-home messages. There are 3 things to discuss. The first one is we went to the Easter show in Sydney with the kids, and for the first time ever, we actually really enjoyed it.
It was a really good experience.
To me, the central message of it is this. We went to the Easter show maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. Felt like we spent an absolute fortune, had a miserable time, big crowds, big lines, lots of money on total junk. Everything felt expensive. Just hated it.
Well, everything was overpriced. I mean, that's the reality.
That's the Easter show. That's how it works, yeah. This time we went to the Easter show knowing that there would be big lines, big crowds, everything would be overpriced, it would be junk. And we kind of went with the attitude, oh, well, it is what it is, and we're doing it for the experience. Ended up spending pretty much exactly the same amount of money as we spent the last time we went, adjusted for inflation. Obviously, there's been a cost of living shift, but pretty much spent exactly the same amount of money. This time we loved it, like had the best time, and so did the kids. It was such a great day out at the show.
And so my take home from all of that is just this idea that when we have a shift in mindset, we can experience the same thing,
Yes.
but have a completely different outcome.
So my mindset the first time, and let's face it, the reason that the show was horrible half a dozen years ago when we went was because I had a terrible attitude. Every time I was asked for money for food or for a show bag or for a ride or for anything at all, my response to it was something like,
Oh, this is so ridiculous. This is so expensive.
I can't believe they're charging this much. What are they doing?
What do they want, $9 for a lemonade? Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, so I had heart failure every time I had to fork out for anything at all, and I was miserable spending every cent, whereas this time I knew that it was all going to be what it was, and I was kind of excited for the experience.
I think one of the other things that really, really helped was the last time we went, we might have taken 6 kids.
Oh, yeah. So
this time we only took 2.
We only took 2 kids and we spent the same amount, and yet it just, for me, it's a mindset thing. Okay, so whether you're going to watch the kids play sport on the weekend or going to a school assembly, I'm known to have a bad attitude when I've got to go to one of those, or whether you're going to the show, whatever it is, the way you set it up in your head has a huge impact on whether or not it'll be a positive experience or not. So when your experience and your expectations meet, you usually have a good experience. When your experience is different to your expectations, that's when it doesn't typically work out so well. You've got high expectations. The experience is not
substandard.
And so it's horrible. I knew that it was going to be expensive. I knew that we were going to be buying a whole lot of junk. I knew that the kids would be hassling and pestering for all this stuff. And I kind of had it in my head, well, it's probably going to cost us this much, and it's just what it is, and we don't really have the money, and it's going on the card, and it's this and it's that. But whatever, we're going so that we can do the show, so that we can have fun, so that we can have the experience, so that our youngest kids who haven't really been to the show and done it can do it. And we had so much fun.
And I would say that, number one, the lines were nowhere near as long as we
The crowds
expected.
were huge. I couldn't believe how many people were there.
Yeah, but the experiences that we had were so tailored to our specific needs.
Yeah, well, we planned the day a bit better.
We did. We planned the day, and we'd learnt from previous experience. And as a result, we were actually quite sheltered. I mean, there were lots of people, but it wasn't like we were having to push through crowds to enjoy our day.
We played it well.
So I think the only other thing that I would add, other than mindset, was knowledge. We actually know how the Easter show works. We'd had conversations with a few other friends who have done it before to work out parking and what was going to be the best way to navigate our day. And because of that, it just made for a really, really enjoyable day.
Okay, our second take-home message from the recent holidays is a two-parter.
This was no fun.
No, this was a really tough one, and yet I don't take back a single word that I've ever said. So on this podcast, I have repeatedly said, your children should do at least one thing per week that could land them in hospital.
And I am sure that every mother who is listening to this has gasped.
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge the glib nature of what I'm saying, right? So if your child ends up in hospital or something worse happens to them, then it sounds like I'm being uncaring. But what I'm really getting at is that our children need to be involved in risky play. It's good for them. It reduces their anxiety. They live a more full life when they do things that are challenging and that are generally outdoors, and that have them finding the boundaries and the edges and learning from experience when they overstep those boundaries and edges. I'm not encouraging explicit danger. I'm not encouraging foolhardiness and
no,
being
but the reality
stupid.
is climbing a tree, there is the potential that your child will fall out of the tree and end up with a broken limb.
They're not going to bounce when they land.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Even being on the trampoline.
So when I say your child should do something every week that could land them in hospital, I don't want them in hospital, but I do want them having the experiences. Anyway, in the second week of the school holidays, when you and I, we organised to have a short getaway, just the two of us. We were on an aeroplane. We had Wi-Fi on the plane. I get a text message, and our daughter, Lily, aged 15, has fallen off a horse, and the horse has
rearranged her face a little bit.
Walked on her face, yeah, run across her face. So she's fractured her eye socket. She's got 2 breaks around her eye. She's in hospital, and we're kind of going, and now
this is the start of our holiday. I hate to think what the end of it's going to look like.
Do we turn around or not? And so that's the whole story. She got off the horse to open a gate. As she went to get back on the horse sort of bolted before she was on the horse. She fell under the horse, and the horse literally ran across her face and broke her face, literally broke the bones around her eye socket in a couple of places, and it's pretty nasty. May end up needing reconstructive surgery if things don't heal right. We're still going through that process at the moment. Take-home message. Your children should do something every week that could land them in hospital. I stand by it. In fact, I'm just as strong on it. And we are fortunate. I mean, this could have been tragic. This could have ended up awfully. But the reality is, and I say this with gratitude in my heart and a prayer towards heaven for what happened, but she was okay. Even though she's technically not really okay, she was okay. She didn't have a tragic end here, and we have the resources and the facilities and the medical infrastructure in place that she is going to be okay. And the overwhelming, massive, incredibly huge majority of our children, even when they do have accidents like this, they are still okay. And that's my point.
And the learning that she gets out of this experience.
She'll be a better horse rider now.
100%. But she'll be better in lots of other areas of life because she will have recognised and learnt to a certain extent her limitations. She learns to take calculated risks. She's not just going, I want to jump off that cliff.
Yeah, or I want to ride that horse now that I've ridden this horse.
Yeah. There is an assessment process, an internal assessment process that she's going to take and go, actually, that's probably not what I want to do, but I could do this.
Similarly, one of our daughters got to spend some time with some friends on a property that they have, and she rode a motorbike for the first time. Now, that terrifies me even more than riding a horse. But she didn't fall off and she didn't break anything, and she came home and she had a ball. And I've told her that when she turns 30, she's welcome to get her motorcycle license if she wants to. But again, this lesson that I keep on emphasising, and our daughter whose face has been broken by this horse, she doesn't resent it. She's not regretful. She loves riding horses and
can't wait to get back to it.
Literally can't wait to get back on the horse. So I guess the thing that I want to emphasise here is even when it doesn't end well, it still ends well, except in the most tragic cases. And I have obviously a painful heart for anyone who's gone through something worse. But our children should be taking risks, and it's good for them. And now she's got an incredible story to tell about how her face got stomped on by a horse for the rest of her life.
A little while ago, we were in a restaurant and I saw a young boy come up to his parents with a cast on his arm. Once upon a time, you've said this before on the podcast, but once upon a time, you would see casts all over the place.
Yeah.
It's actually quite rare to see a child in any kind of cast these days. And I actually had the feeling and thought, I want to high five his parents.
Right.
I looked at that kid and I just thought, you are living life.
Yeah.
Like you're actually living life. You're not cotton-wooled. You're not bubbled up. You are literally living life and doing it great.
Yeah. After the break, I'm going to share a bit more about living life and your final take-home message from the Easter break. Okay, so living life fully means that sometimes we do things that could put ourselves in risky situations.
And that includes you.
That includes me. I went on a surfing trip. You came with me. The waves were solid. And at one point, I caught a wave and it didn't end up particularly well for me. And because of where we were, I was only wearing a rash shirt and boardies. I didn't have a wetsuit on. The wave threw me into the water and I got dragged along my back across the top of a reef.
You did a really good job of not telling me for a little while.
Several hours. Yes. Yeah, you found out because somebody else was inquiring about my back because everyone else at the camp knew about my back except for you.
Yes.
But it's amazing what some betadine and some aloe vera and, I mean, I just went surfing again a couple of hours after I did it. But again, having the experience, living fully, doing things that are potentially dangerous or certainly that can contain an element of risk allow you to live life better. And I've got scarring on my back now that may be lifelong. Like I've got scars on my back that look like I've been tortured and whipped. It's kind of nasty. And I don't regret it for a second because the waves were incredible and I had a fantastic time. And it was something that I was actively choosing to do because I love it. So that's my take-home message is your children and even you as adults should do things that can land you in hospital. Why? Because so long as you're not being silly, foolish and dangerous, taking risk is a necessary part of living a full and active life. What's your final take-home message from the Easter break?
So my take-home message, while you were busy surfing, I have
to interrupt you. You, on day one, you told me, go surfing as much as you want. You just do you. And it's just occurred to me that you did that for you, not for me.
Possibly. Possibly.
I took that. I mean, I was happy to surf 7 hours a day.
You definitely did. I might have felt a bit neglected by the end of it,
but my goodness.
That's okay.
All right, so what's the take-home message? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
What I loved was the absolute disconnect we got to have from the outside world. Very limited Wi-Fi where we were. And unfortunately, because of Lily's accident, we actually tapped in with the family a lot more than we probably would have had that not have occurred.
I need to highlight, we were explicitly told by grandparents, siblings, everyone, don't come home. You'll be fine. We've got this. So that's why, because we were going to come home.
However, outside of communicating with the family, I had no Wi-Fi. I had nothing to do.
We didn't touch our screens. It was amazing.
And it really was. It really was. And it gave me lots of time to just check in on my internal dialogue and where I'm sitting in my space at the moment, where the kids are up to and what they specifically are missing out on from me personally. And what was so curious to me was it literally comes down to one word. And I think that in most cases it would be the same word for everybody. We live these fast-paced lives and we cram in every minute with meaningful and purposeful stuff most of the time. And yet what our kids actually want and need is just time.
That's the word.
That's the word. It's time.
But it's not just the kids. It's us as well. So you've had a week where you had time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to think about meals.
I did like that part.
Yeah, of course. And you didn't really have to, you just had time. Time. That's it.
And for a lot of us, because we live these fast-paced, over-scheduled lives, when we get time, we actually don't know what to do with it. Like it feels so uncomfortable to just be given time to do nothing. It's really, really disconcerting. And so we might pick up a book or, we'll pick up our phones, generally speaking, when we've got connectivity. I literally just kept having conversations with myself out loud sometimes.
You've tapped into something so important here. I'm writing about this in my book about teen boys. and how screens have changed the way our brains work. So there's part of our brain, it's called the default mode network, like where our brain goes when there's nothing going on, so it can go into default mode. And that's when it starts to think about all the stuff that you've highlighted, whether it's relationships or who am I, what's my identity, what's going on, what do I value, all the, the inner conversation that you get to have with yourself when there's nothing else to do. That's what builds us into who we are. And our kids don't get that, and neither do we, because we don't have time. Getting away to a place where there's no Wi-Fi, there's no connectivity, therefore there's no point having a screen, and where there's very little to do other than enjoy nature, that gives the default mode network time to kick in. And a week of that is refreshing.
Yeah, because the internal dialogue that we have usually in our fast-paced lives is whoever the loudest voice is.
Right. Which is usually something coming at us from a screen.
Yeah. And so as I sat there and I thought about each of the kids, I was actually really blown away at how specific the ideas were that came to me about what each child needed in that space with time.
Yeah, how our family can be happier.
Yeah. And I came home and I've sat with each of them and I've said, look, I've been really kind of intentional in my thinking over the last week. I wanted to know how I could best serve you. Like how do I best connect with you?
How do I be the best mom? Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, and this is what's come to me. How do you feel about that? And one of them literally said, I was in class today, Mum, and they asked me to write a letter to myself about the things that I wanted to change in my life or the things that I needed in my life. And she said, I literally wrote that thing down on my paper. And I was like, I was just so grateful. And so my take-home message is, whether it's going down to the local campsite or whatever, or even not even being able to go away for overnight, giving yourself a day to just go out somewhere where you don't have your phone and you're able to sit in that space and just think about your world and your life and the people that are most important to you, and ponder, like literally ponder about what they need and what you need from those relationships.
We don't get enough of that, and we need more of it. We really hope that our Easter musings and insights can help your family to be happier. Make sure that those kids are doing one thing every week that could genuinely land them in hospital, not seeking danger, but encouraging risk. Take time to think. And
if you like my wording better, just let them have some risky play.
Yeah, okay. And your mindset around the different activities, it can shape the quality of the experience that you have. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate that you choose to spend your time with us. We hope that this has been a useful podcast for you. If you would like to leave us a 5-star rating and review, we'd love that. You get a warm, fuzzy feeling. We get to reach more people when you do it. Please do that and take a few seconds on whatever app you're listening to us on so that people can know that you love the podcast. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rowland from Bridge Media. For more information and resources about making your family happier, please visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.